So I'd like to say thank you very much, everyone, and it's a pleasure to have you join us today. My name is Jackson Howard. I am one half of EURAXESS North America. Our hub, for those who don't know, is based in Washington, D.C., and we cover all of the United States and Canada. And two of my colleagues today will give presentations. One is the other regional coordinator of our office, and one is from our Europe-based colleague at EURAXESS Worldwide. So the information you hear today will be useful to researchers of all nationalities and based anywhere in the world, though our examples and the policy background will be focused on researchers currently living in the U.S., regardless of nationality. So I just have some brief housekeeping remarks before I turn to my two teammates. I invite you to share your questions via the Q&A box. We will get to those at the end of the presentation. This webinar is being recorded, so you can bookmark the event page on the EURAXESS North America portal and check back soon. You'll have both the PDF version of both the presentations and the video recording up within 24 to 48 hours. And you will get an automated email from Zoom tomorrow as well. So with that, I'm very happy to introduce my colleague, Dr. Derya Büyüktanır Karacan, also regional coordinator here at EURAXESS North America. Derya, thank you very much. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Jackson, for the kind introduction, and thank you all for joining us today. As Jackson also mentioned, as EURAXESS North America, a European Commission initiative, we aim to support researchers' mobility and career development while enhancing scientific collaboration between Europe and North America. We offer free services and information for researchers and research organizations in the United States and Canada about job and funding opportunities, mostly focusing on Horizon Europe. EURAXESS North America also acts as a platform for scientific diasporas. If you're unfamiliar with us, we will share some of our resources during the event or after the event. I am Derya Büyüktanır Karacan, the regional coordinator of EURAXESS North America. I also work as a researcher and professional lecturer at George Washington University in Washington, D.C. I will briefly present the EU-U.S. research collaboration, its policy background, and opportunities for U.S.-based researchers, focusing on the EU funding program Horizon Europe, with a budget of 95.5 billion euros, and it's approximately 105 billion US dollars over 7 years. After my presentation, my dear colleague Dalibor will share his knowledge and experience on Pillar 2 of Horizon Europe. So the main objective of today's events are to provide a basic overview of the complexity and also richness of the Horizon Europe, help US-based participants understand why Horizon Europe is relevant for them and what they can do to build a more nuanced and complex understanding of the program's opportunities, and to provide information on available resources for researchers and entrepreneurs. Before I start my presentation, I would like to say that, like anything, Horizon Europe has a learning curve. It requires effort and upfront investment, but the rewards are much larger than many other funding programs. They go beyond the funding money, and it has more benefits like building international networks, creating global visibility, prestige, and much more. So let's start the policy background of the recent policy background. Yes. So we can start with the, first of all, recent change. I can just provide some recent challenges like the COVID-19 pandemic, the war in Ukraine, and the changing dynamics of the global powers. They all change the geostrategic dynamics. All these have created drastic changes in international scientific collaboration in research and innovation. International science collaboration has become more vital when addressing global issues by leveraging worldwide talent and capabilities. And we started to discuss more about the limits of not only the cooperation, also the competition. The relations with the US and Europe have become more critical, and recently, US-European cooperation has developed into one of the strongest and most lasting bonds in international science collaboration. And the US has had the highest level of participation and success rates in EU research and innovation programs of all non-EU and non-associated countries for many years. The summit in June 2021 gave good momentum to the US-EU relations. At the summit during the COVID-19 pandemic, leaders underlined the commitment to continue engage in health research initiatives, including developing medical countermeasures in a much shorter period. And then the US and EU launched the EU-U.S. Trade and Technology Council. The council was established during the third summit in June 2021 in Brussels. And this year, the fourth one was held in May. Within this ministerial level policy dialogue, both parties agreed to pursue cooperation on particular areas such as climate change and clean technologies. Innovation is also an essential element of this dialogue. Another element of this cooperation is the global approach to research and innovation, Europe's strategy for international cooperation in a changing world. This new strategy is based on Commission's communication and partnership on values and principles. With this, the EU aims to support international research and innovation partnerships and provide innovative solutions to make societies green, digital, and healthy. And Horizon Europe, that we are all sharing this information today, a larger program opens to international cooperation and is the key instrument for the implementation of this approach, global approach. So this approach defines guidelines on how to organize international cooperation, preserves openness in research and innovation, promotes common values and rules, and strengthens multilateral partnerships, also supports resilient knowledge-based societies in low and middle-income countries. So the main four principles, the guiding principles of this approach are promoting openness and values. These might be academic freedom, research ethics, gender, and human rights. And also reciprocity and balanced approach to better safeguard the EU interests and values. It has signed bilateral roadmaps with the USA, Canada, Japan, South Korea, Singapore, and many countries like New Zealand and China, India. Also, it pools global efforts to tackle global challenges. And they have initiated different things, projects like All Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance, Mission Innovation, New European Bauhaus, and the others. And the fourth is modulating cooperation with third countries. It has initiated, for example, the EU initiated targeted international cooperation actions, Africa Initiative, EU-China Roadmap, and ASEAN-EU Dialogue. So let's talk more about the Horizon Europe program with this big budget for 7 years. The program covers all research areas from excellent science to global challenges and widening participation. And strategy document was published for the period of 2001 to 2004. It is implemented through work programs that are published on biennial basis. And we have now work plan for the 2023 and 24, and it has almost 1,000 topics that have been published. Nearly all of these topics are open to the participation of US organizations. But who can also participate in these Horizon Europe programs? So mainly there are 3 categories, and the first one is member states, 27 member states, and the second is associated states to Horizon Europe. So both countries in this groups can be financed by the European Commission directly, and they can, any organizations from these countries can become a partner. Recently, there are new countries who presented their interest to become associated to Horizon Europe. These are Australia, Canada, Japan, Singapore, and South Korea. And hopefully in the near future, they are also going to be associated to the Horizon Europe. How about the third countries? Nearly all the other countries that I mentioned beyond these countries are can be seen as third countries. So Horizon Europe is open in general as long as partners provide value to the project. So what does it mean? There are some basic rules and principles for the third countries to be financed by the European Commission. And this is important to understand the EU's participation in Horizon Europe program. The first one is the general one. Low and middle income countries are automatically eligible for the funding, and the listing of these countries is eligible in the Horizon Europe program as an annex. Other countries like industrially developed countries such as the US, India, China, Singapore, they don't belong to this group and they are required to pay their participation. However, under the exceptional conditions, which are stated that they can also receive exceptional funding in the case of their outstanding competence and access to the specific and rare research infrastructure, or if there is a geographical environment or particular data that needs to be accessed in these countries, then this exceptional funding can be applied. The third one is the next one is when the program specifies that international cooperation is encouraged. So it means that the participation of the third countries is possible, but not necessary. This information is available under the section within the call topic page. This section is called the scope. In this case, the third countries should find the consortium and offer their expertise. So the consortium gets more merit for solving the identified problem. And finally, when the program states that international cooperation is mandatory, this means that the consortium has to involve or must involve a third country. So this is different than the third one. And often these calls target specific countries or sometimes regions such as Latin America, Africa, Canada, or the others. So it is explicitly written on the call topic page, and this international cooperation is mandatory and there are eligibility conditions. It means the proposal is not going to be funded if its eligibility condition is not met. So after knowing this general information about which countries can participate, let's go to the more details on the structure of the Horizon Europe. I will go very briefly as we don't have really enough time today, but I would like to mention the three pillars, how this Horizon Europe project is structured. The first pillar is the excellent science. It has a bottom-up approach. So the European research, the first grant is the European Research Council grants. This is intended to promote precisely excellent science through the European Research Council grants for blue sky research for researchers of any nationality and different ages. It offers grants to researchers in all research domains, from the humanities to neuroscience for frontier research. The financial support is very substantial, ranging from 1.5 million euros for the starting grants to around 10 million for the synergy grant. Grants are available for early career researchers, consolidators, or advanced. And how about the US researchers? They are welcome to apply. And if they are selected, they are eligible for funding to establish a research group in Europe. But if they are selected, they have to spend nearly half of a certain amount of time. It is half of their time in Europe. What is interesting is now the recent changes in synergy grants is that the US researcher, one US researcher may collaborate with at least 2 European researchers with all funded. In this new type of grant or new conditions for the synergy grants, which are also the largest in terms of amount, one of these principal investigators can be from the US and does not need to spend half of time in Europe. Still, it can conduct a complementary project from his or her hometown, home country. This is the US. So this is particularly interesting for US researchers that can apply in a substantial research project with European principal investigators and implement their work from the US. There is another opportunity. ERC also has an implementing arrangement with the National Science Foundation, whereby NSF funds NSF-funded researchers to spend some time in ERC-funded group in Europe. And the second grant under this pillar is Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions, MSEA, and it funds, these funds provide support for the mobility and career development of researchers. There are several possibilities for the mobility and training of these researchers, of European researchers going to the US and vice versa for the US researchers coming to European universities and research organizations. Especially for the global fellowships, they are very attractive because they allow researchers from the two sides to receive training and conduct substantial research on the other side of the Atlantic. It also offers opportunities for the US institutions to participate in innovative training networks and research and innovation staff exchange consortia. So the EU institutions are self-funded in these also grants. The third one is, under this pillar, is the research infrastructures. It covers the actions targeting research infrastructures. And how about pillar 2? As I mentioned, Dalibor is going to explain and share his experience on pillar 2, but I would provide a very brief information. So it concerns the global challenges and European industrial competitiveness. It's a top-down approach with 6 clusters. Under this pillar, many goals and topics are shaped to address the most significant problems of our societies. These research actions are part of an overall policy package to address various challenges in various fields. And classical consortium-based collaborative projects are accepted. So the first pillar was more about the individual researchers, but this pillar is totally different than the first pillar. So it means consortium with more than 3 countries carry out the project, and not the individuals, but the organization, universities, etc. will apply, and the EU and the associated countries must lead the consortium. Open call for proposals on topics are more or less prescriptive. The EU funding and tenders portal is the main website for you, as Dalibor will elaborate on later on. Proposals must also address one topic described in the work program. The topic describes a problem to solve. For collaborative research projects, about the US organizations' position, the US organizations do not receive direct funding in general, but there are some exceptions. They bring their own funding to the project and provided by some research funding organizations. In exceptional cases, US entities may be entitled to funding when this possibility is mentioned in the relevant calls for proposals or where the US partner is essential to the project. This is typically the case in calls related to health research for the cluster 1. The Commission exceptionally provides funding to the US research organization as part of selected projects, and this is because the EU has an agreement with National Institute of Health, whereby it funds the European researchers participating in their projects. the Commission does the same for the Americans joining the project selected on Horizon Europe. Under these clusters, some topics are targeting precisely cooperation with the U.S. In these topics, the U.S. is mentioned in the text of the calls. And let's go to the pillar 2. It is Innovative Europe. European Innovation Council is new, and it is a separate agency. It has the task of providing support for developing breakthrough innovation by providing venture capital to SMEs and companies. So I would like to finalize my words by again mentioning the importance of international cooperation in Horizon Europe program. The Commission leads many global research partnerships, and these partnerships are essential for the EU to meet its international commitments like the Sustainable Development Goals. In the program, some topics specifically target international cooperation, referring to specific countries or regions. They include intensified targeted actions, strengthened support for multilateral cooperation, and openness to international participation. So the EU and the US share research values like openness, transparency, fairness, academic freedom, and ethics, and are natural partners in science and technology and innovation. And in Horizon Europe, the European priorities to tackle the major challenges are also well aligned with the priorities of the US administration. As I mentioned in the beginning, the US has had the highest level of participation in the EU research and innovation programs of all non-EU and non-associated countries for many years. What is also interesting here is the number of applications and the success rate, which is higher for US applications. And innovators are welcome to team up with the European counterparts in Horizon Europe. So if you would like to have ask more questions and contact with other than the EURAXESS North America, you can also reach out to Enrich in the US and also national contact points. Unfortunately, the US doesn't have national contact points, but you can reach out to other countries' national contact points. So if you also would like to reach out to EURAXESS North America, this is our email address, and please follow us through our social media and to be aware of the updated information about these funding opportunities. We are also organizing many events like today's events. We would like to, we hope to see you again in our other events. Thank you very much for your participation today. So I would like to give floor to Jackson or Dalibor, which would like to take.
So as Derya mentioned, I would now like to turn to our partner based in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Dr. Dalibor Drljaca. He works for EURAXESS worldwide and provides support to all of the EURAXESS hubs like us at EURAXESS North America. We're one of the 9 worldwide hubs. And alongside our colleague based in Ethiopia, he launched the EURAXESS Africa Hub last year, which is the most recent addition to the worldwide team. Dalibor, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jackson. I hope you can see my screen. So first of all, I would like to thank to everyone of the participants for being today with us. Also would like to thank you to Jackson and to Derya for inviting me and giving me the honor for the first presentation of Pillar 2 of Horizon Europe in the USA. So as Jackson already mentioned my positions, I'm wearing so many hats, as one of them is EURAXESS worldwide expert. So let's try to present this very specific topic of today's webinar, which is very complex and which is quite a huge one. So I would just like to apologize myself for my English, because you're English native, I'm not. So I hope that my presentation will be clear enough. However, you're always free to set the question in the Q&A box, and after the presentation, I will try to respond. Also, please forgive me, but there are so many information that I have to transfer to you, because this is very big portion of the Horizon Europe program. So I will try to speak as fast as I can to be understood, and also to provide you with a lot of information that is necessary to know. What we are going to talk about today is about what is Pillar 2, what are the clusters, and what are the project types. Then I will try to go to the funding and tenders portal, which is the main portal for the communication when it comes to the Horizon Europe program. And then I will introduce you how to read the topic page, which is similar to Pillar 1 topic pages, but it has more details on this website. And then some advices on how to find the partners. Specific part of this presentation will be very short, but this is also something that is quite specific and new for the program. This was not existing in the Horizon 2020, in the past framework program. Those are the European Union missions. These are specific instruments for funding of the targeted activities within this program. And also European partnerships, which are originated from Horizon 2020. They are extended now to 49 partnerships approved. So what is a Pillar 2? Pillar 2, as Derya mentioned, is a part of the Horizon Europe program that is in a former Horizon 2020 program was called Societal Challenges. So it is in Horizon 2020, it was a third pillar. Now it becomes a second pillar. The main objective of this pillar is to incentivize the interdisciplinarity, cross-sectoral, cross-policy, cross-border, and international cooperation. Many words that are very interesting when you elaborate them individually. But the problem is that we need to respond to the global challenges that are attacking all the countries worldwide. And therefore, it is necessary to make the integration of efforts and make the synergies with the funds available in order to secure sustainable level of impact, because the impact is the key word for this Pillar 2. So in a Pillar 1, you had research excellence maybe as a keyword, but in Pillar 2, impact is a keyword for everything, because all the activities in Pillar 2 are based on the most famous documents like UN Sustainable Development Goals, 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, Paris Agreement, etc. So the creation of new knowledge, new technologies, sustainable solutions, and also to increase the impact of the R&I, research and innovation, in developing, supporting, and implementing different policies is the core of this budget, of this pillar, which is budgeted with approximately 53 billion of euros for this period. So if you count that it's a 95.5 total budget, you see that the majority of the funding is in a Pillar 2. The characteristics of this program are a little bit different. First of all, this is top-down approach. So the European Commission is giving the idea and requiring some solutions. And then the social sciences and humanities, they don't have specific group or cluster. Social sciences and humanities are fully integrated. So every project practically should integrate social sciences and humanities within their scope of work. What is else interesting for the Pillar 2? It is that we are paying attention to the technology readiness level that is required by a different core topics. And then the non-nuclear actions of the Joint Research Center are also included in this chapter. Joint Research Center, as you know, this is the agency that was working also in the Horizon 2020 program. So this is a body within the European Commission that generates the knowledge and creates the policies that the European Commission later on is providing to the Parliament. So what kind of actions are financed? Research and innovation, development of new methods, innovative uses of digital transformation, or robotics for competitive and scalable methods for production, or dissemination strategies, or different kind of collaborative projects, because the whole Pillar 2 is about the collaboration of institutions, not individuals. So this is the difference compared to the Pillar 1. Pillar 1 is mainly individual projects, but Pillar 2 are the institutional projects. As I mentioned, the impact is a key word for this pillar. There are three parts or three priorities of this impact, as we can see it. First one is a scientific impact that intends to create new high quality knowledge and increase the human capital with the dissemination of knowledge through open science and open data policies. The second one is societal impact, which means that we need to address these key global challenges with our research and innovation missions or projects, and that we need to uptake these research and innovation results into the society, so to have effects. And these societal effects will guarantee additional funding for our projects in the future or even today. Then the economic impact is normally that we expect, because after all, the funding of the Horizon Europe is taxpayers' money, so everyone is expected to get something with this. And the Commission here is directed towards the generation of the growth based on innovation and more and better jobs, with more investment in research and innovation as a global driver of the research and innovation. So at the moment, these are the data that I withdraw from the Horizon dashboard about the USA participation in Horizon Europe program, especially the Pillar 2 that you can see on the top table. As you can see, the most of the participations is in a health cluster. I will explain later on about these clusters. And as one of the top organizations participating in the overall program, so not only in a Pillar 2, is the Regents of the University of California with the 25 participations. So these are the data that just illustrates how important it is to participate, and also the benefits of participation in the program. So what are the clusters? The clusters are the key elements of the Pillar 2 program, and we have 6 clusters. First one is a health, culture, creativity and inclusive society, civil security for society, digital industry and space, climate, energy and mobility, and the last cluster is the food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture and environment. Some clusters are very simple like health, some clusters are very complex like the cluster 6. So you see also the spread of the funding between the clusters, where you can see that obviously for the climate, energy and mobility, and also for the cluster for digital industry and space, there is a biggest portion of the funding. So I know that you are mostly interested for the health cluster, so I will start with the health cluster, because this is the cluster where you can participate fully. And the cluster health aims to promote human health and well-being by prevention of disease, decrease of the burden of the diseases, and also to decrease the burden of disabilities on the people. How to do that? To do that with the transformation of the healthcare systems, to improve healthcare systems, to provide better healthcare services. And all of that will be supported by the European health industry that is providing the services to the healthcare systems. And priorities in this case are numerous of priorities. Whatever you look at the priorities in the cluster 1, there are priorities. So increasing of understanding of impact of different factors to our health and well-being, including environmental, occupational, or socioeconomical risk factors. The next one is transformation of the healthcare systems, as I mentioned, to ensure fair access and sustainable healthcare services with a high quality of services to all citizens. This was obviously seen in the recent pandemic of COVID-19, where we had these problems of the non-functional healthcare systems that couldn't answer to this specific request. To unlock the full potential for new tools, technologies, and digital solutions, here we talk about robotics, here we talk about high-performance computing, about the big data in health, many things that are connected to the new tools and technologies. Then the next one is to facilitate the market access to the innovative health technologies. So how to make them more cheap, how to make them more affordable to many healthcare systems to be more effective and more efficient. So the destinations are the parts of this overall work program. So just have to mention that the work program is a strategic document that is provided every 2 years and covers 2 years period with in advance prescribed deadlines for application to different call topics. So once the call work program is published, 2 years in advance, you know which topic is going to be funded when. So it's very useful to know and to introduce yourself with these work programs in advance in order to know if the topic of your interest is already past or it is going to be sometimes in the future. So each cluster is divided in a different destinations, and destinations are actually different visual representation of the global goals of the work program and also the global goals of the strategies that European Commission is underlying. So in the health program, we have 6 destinations. First one is staying healthy. The second one, living and working in a health promoting environment. The third one is dealing with the diseases and reducing the disease burden. Then ensuring access to innovative, sustainable, and high quality healthcare services. Unlocking the full potential and also competitive health-related industries. So we'll go one by one, just very briefly, because we are very short with the time. Unfortunately, webinars are not long-lasting events. So the first destination aims to address the prevention of diseases. So everything here is directed to the prevention of diseases related, physical or mental diseases that can be addressed. In the 2023 work program, specific needs of children and adolescents are in the focus of this destination. And you will see later on, I will tell you which core topics are going to be issued. So the expected impact of this destination, so it means all topics that are under this destination, they must answer to these expected impacts. It is that the citizens should adopt healthier lifestyles and behavior. So your project needs to pursue them to adopt healthier lifestyles and behaviors. Also, your projects need to empower the citizens to manage their physical and mental health better, to prevent the diseases, and also to interact with their doctors and healthcare providers in a better way to save the time and the money. Also, the citizens' trust in knowledge-based health interventions and systems must be strengthened and increased by increasing the health literacy, engagement, and adherence to the health promotion, disease prevention, and treatment. In 2024, so next year, there will be 2 core topics. Both of them are 2-stage. It means in the first stage, you are admitting the concept note, and in the second stage, you're submitting the full proposal. So the first one is towards a holistic approach to children and adolescent health and care provisions in an increasingly digital society, with a total budget of 30 million euros and the project budget of 8 to 10 million euros, which means of all projects applied to this call, only 3 projects maximum will be funded. In next call topic is personalized prevention of non-communicable diseases, addressing areas of unmet needs using multiple data sources. Personalized medicine is something that is a top in a medicine as a research. So now related to the non-communicable diseases with a budget of 50 million euros and 8 to 12 million euros per budget, which means again up to 4 projects is going to 5 to 4 projects will be funded. Destination 2 is dealing with the critical indicators and the factors from environment that can degrade or impact our health. Related, it is air, noise, light, or waste pollution. So the expected impacts here are to help policymakers and regulators to be more aware and well informed about these factors, and also to upstream the determinants of these diseases to be reduced and to be fully understood, because only fully understood events can be reduced and can be adapted to fight it. So substantially reduced health threats and burdens on hazardous chemicals from air, water, soil, whatever, they need also to be reduced. Living in a working environment where all of us would like to live in a more healthier, more inclusive and safer and sustainable environment. Strengthening the capacity and resilience of the population and health systems. Again, unfortunately, the case of COVID-19 shows us that the resilience of population and especially health systems was not on a satisfactory level. And also the well-being of the citizens must be promoted and protected further. Sustainable and based on solid evidence, all of these expected impacts, they must be scientifically confirmed and completed. In 2024, there will be only one 2-stage call. It is titled The Role of Environmental Pollution in Non-Communicable Diseases, Air, Noise, Light, and Hazardous Waste Pollution. Exactly what is the one of the expected impacts, with a budget of 60 million euros, and individual project budgets estimated on 7 to 8 million euros. Destination 3 is to tackle diseases and reducing the disease burden, which means strictly the fight against the battles and then especially the non-communicable diseases, and also to pay attention to the antimicrobial resistance, because this kind of AMR, as they call it, is something that is very important for our future due to the different microbes that have appeared recently as a super microbes. So therefore, there is going to be many different expected impacts, like reducing the health burden, reducing the mortality rate from non-communicable diseases by 1/3 until the 2030. Also to increase the promotion of the mental health and well-being with the strengthening of the research and innovation expertise, and increasing also the empowering the patients and citizens about these threats. Even 6 core topics are going to be published in 2024 in this domain, in this destination, because you see the importance of this destination as a crucial one. So effectiveness of research in the areas of the public health, pandemic preparedness, validation of biomarkers, high burden for patients and under research medical conditions. Again, another topic from the pandemic preparedness. So 3 topics from the pandemic preparedness out of 6. It just confirms what I said about the COVID-19. Destination 4 is something that deals with support to the healthcare systems in their transformation to ensure this fair access to all patients and the high quality services. So this is all about the equal access, cost effectiveness, people-centered solutions, focused on the health and disease prevention, and also shifting from the hospital-centered to the community-based and the people-centered integrated healthcare structures. Why? To empower the citizens to bring their own decisions, and also to help them to be more informed about the conditions. In 2022, it is going only one core topic to be published. It's access to healthcare services for people in vulnerable situations, with a 30 million euros budget for 4 to 6 million euros per project. So destination 5 is about the technologically oriented and disease neutral. So this destination is not dealing with the diseases, but with the technology that will support to unlock the potential of the new healthcare tools, technologies, and solutions. And therefore, one of the expected impacts is to increase the expertise and capacities in innovation, and also to create the tangible benefits for all citizens from the aspect of the technology, for Europe to become a leader in a health technology development, in the same time to decrease the burden of the diseases and improve the productivity and quality. In 2024, an innovative non-animal human-based tools and strategies will be required, with a budget of 25 million euros for projects budgeting in 4 to 8 million euros. And the second call is going to be on the bioprinting of living cells for regenerative medicine. Very interesting topic, especially if you consider now recent developments with the different nanotechnologies. The budget is 25 million euros with the project with individual project budget of 6 to 8 million euros. Last but not least is the destination 6 that is intending to stimulate European health industry, especially in vitro diagnostic medical devices. The whole aim of this destination is to improve the European health industry to become more competitive on the worldwide market, and to implement the European standards that are going to ensure safety and quality of the healthcare, including the effectiveness and interoperability of these solutions. In 2024, there will be 2 topics open: developing EU methodological frameworks for clinical performance evaluation and post-market in a clinical performance follow-up medical devices in vitro diagnostic medical devices, 10 million euro, and it's 8 to 10 million euros. And the second one is gaining experience in new approach methodologies, again, one new initiative that is going to enhance the experience and knowledge of the regulators. And therefore, this budget is 25 million euros. Project budget is 6 to 8 million euros. And you see in the red, it's written CSA. This means that this is the only call. All other call topics are research and innovation actions. And this call topic is only this coordination and support action. I will explain later on after the explanation of the clusters, these types of the actions. So the eligibility for participation for USA is that there are going to be, as you see, 15 call topics, with all of them are going to be open in October, with the deadline in April 2024. Two stage call topics, which is majority, they will be open on the March. They're already open on the March 2023, with the deadline on the first stage this September and the second stage April. End of July, you can expect results and the selection and invitation to sign the grant agreement. And these are going to be the first so-called lump sum projects expected in 2024. So this is a novelty. So most of the topics and the call topics are going to be funded on the lump sum based. So you need to be very careful when planning the activities to be covered with this lump sum funding. Also, novelty is a blind evaluation that is going to happen. This is the same evaluation process, just without the knowing the participating entities. Next one is that USA participants are eligible for funding. When I say participants, I mean on institutions, not individuals, because as I said, Pillar 2 is a institutional participation, not individual participation. And for any case, it's always good to refer to the call topic page to see the eligibility criterion, because sometimes this can be changed in the work program and also updated in amendment of the work program. So you need to cross-reference again the participation of USA entities in every call. So no limitations related to the number of participants. So it means the minimum consortium for the Pillar 2 proposal projects are 3 institutions from the member states or associated countries, where 1 is obligatory from the member states. When you meet this requirement, all other institutions can be from USA, from other program third countries. It's politically correct to say program third countries, because they are not third countries per se. So after you meet the minimum consortium, then any number of the participants from different countries is less important, because that's up to the project coordinator to define the tasks and see the contribution and impact of each partner in the proposal. So you can participate as a beneficiary in this case, because you will be directly paid by the European Commission, or you will be actually by the coordinator of the project, not by the Commission, because the coordinator is one that is paying the grant to partners. Then you can be added as an associated partner to take a part of the activities, but not the crucial activities. And you can be also invited to act as an expert to evaluate the proposals in this Pillar 2. So if you have PhD, apply on the funding and tenders portal for the expert position, upload your biography and your bibliography, and then you may expect that the Commission is going to invite you to evaluate the proposals in this field. So the next cluster, which are less maybe relevant for the USA participation, I will go very briefly. Cluster 2 is going to deal with the culture, creativity, and inclusive societies, supporting the European democratic values reflected in the rule of laws, fundamental human rights, and also to prevent the destruction of the cultural heritage and to preserve the diversity of these cultural heritages. Socioeconomic transformations that needs to be promoted to contribute to inclusion and growth, economic growth, and also to support the democratic governance and citizens' participation. Among the most important priorities, these projects should reflect to enhance democracy and governance, tackle extremism and polarizations in a political view, and also to fight against different socioeconomic and gender inequalities. Then also, these different technological advancements are the drivers of change, and the societal impact on these drivers must be further investigated. And also to innovate the growth models for the whole society, how to be better, not to forget to have the better valorization of the European cultural heritage, again to preserve these differences between the different cultures and nations. So the structure of this cluster is divided in only 3 destinations: democracy and governance, cultural heritage, then social and economic transformations. Cluster 3 is the civil security for society. This can be interesting because it deals with the cybersecurity, with the classical security, disaster risk reductions, and resilience. This can even cover the health risk reduction and health disasters like pandemics, but it strictly depends on the call topics, what is the scope of each of the calls. So it priorities is to improve the disaster risk management and societal resilience, because one thing is that you manage the risk, and the other thing is how to prepare society to be more resilient on eventual risks which are not possible to foresee. Then improved management of the EU external borders. As you know, the 27 countries, there is only one external border, which is quite large. And so the European Commission is investing significant money to keep these borders tight and proof. Better protection of the public spaces. Normally, you're all aware of the different terroristic attacks and the different threats that can be observed on the public spaces. So this is something that is needed to be connected also to the security and resilience infrastructure for the vital societal functions. And also not to forget the maritime security, and with the focus, all of these topics in the cluster are focused in the fight against crime and terrorism, including the cybersecurity as the novel model of the crime and terrorism. So 6 destinations here also divided between different of these specific topics. I will not read them. You will have the presentation and you will have also the recording. So you can also always look at this. The next one, the cluster with a significant portion of the funding from this pillar, is the digital industry and space, to advance these enabling digital and space technologies, and to help the digitization and the transformation of the European industry by growing the low carbon, circular and clean industry. This is very important, knowing that so many problems are appearing with the industry in Europe that is not so clean industry, that is depending on the different non-renewable energy sources. So this cluster is really strictly connected to the industry and the digitization of the European industry. So it is the priorities is to create more appealing and creative jobs, and to get autonomy in a critical raw materials like it's an energy raw materials or raw materials for production of different industrial parts. Industrial leadership in key enabling digital technologies like nanotechnologies, for example, is something that is very important. But all of this must be packed in a climate neutral, circular, which means that it's a renewable, and the clean European industries. This also means that the inclusiveness is going to be increased. So although there is a specific destination, the specific cluster dedicated to the climate changes, still we need to tackle the climate neutral, circular and digitized production. So here we are talking about production effects of the production to the climate and to the environment. And this is also strictly, this is very closely interconnected with the resilient industry, so that the industry is flexible to the changes on the market. The industry should be somehow based on the data and computing technologies, improving the potential and capacities of these industrial capacities. And also it must be improved the technologies for competitiveness that are fit for the Green Deal, so-called the Green Deal. This is the document, also strategic document of the European Commission that deals with this crucial climate and environmental issues. Open strategic autonomy in developing, deploying, and using global space-based infrastructures. not to mention different space technologies that the European Commission is developing, like, for example, Galileo navigation system, etc. Human-centered and ethical development. We're all forgetting on this very two important and crucial issues, but now this is set as a destination within the cluster 4. Cluster 5 is another very rich cluster by the funding getting from the Commission to fight climate change by improving the competitiveness in the energy and transport industries. So these are the two industries that are mostly jeopardizing the climate in Europe. And so the quality of the services in these sectors has to be more improved and bring closer to the society. So to do that, we need to better understand and to make these systems more climate and environmental friendly. The priorities in this case are low carbon and competitive solutions, advanced climate science and cross-sectoral solutions for decarbonizations, introduction of novel energy systems based on the renewable energies, solutions to decarbonize energy and transport systems, reduction of the greenhouse gases, and also reinforced bioeconomy. The structure of this cluster is divided into the 6 destinations that you can see on the screen. So it's primarily the climate response, cross-sectoral solutions, sustainable competitive energy supply, efficient, sustainable and inclusive energy use, clean and competitive solutions for transport, and safe, resilient transport and smart mobility for passengers and goods. The cluster 6, the last but not least, the one with the longest title related to the agriculture, food, and natural resources, is dealing with the aspect. Again, we are tackling a little bit of the climate changes by using this prevention of degradation and pollution of the soil primarily, because we would like to save the biodiversity that is in the declining phase. Some species are rapidly are disappearing, so reversing this biodiversity decline is one of the very important priorities of this cluster. Also, like in the previous cluster, reduction of greenhouse gases emission, restoration of ecosystems. So the ecosystems that are jeopardized, we need to restore them to put them in normal functionality. This is especially important if you look at the forestry and the deforestation in the different parts where we have now recent 3 years, we have so many floods that are devastating the planet all over in every country, more or less. So this is a kind of points that it's necessary to pay attention, not to mention the agriculture itself and the food production with the new and sustainable primary production of food, because the food is a scarce resource in the world. Also, establishment of new governance models enabling sustainability is something that is going to be as a priority C. The structure is in a 7 destination, with the biodiversity, fair and healthy, environmental friendly food systems, circular bioeconomy, zero pollution from the different agriculture and the food production plants, land, ocean and water for climate action to prevent all of them, resilient, inclusive, health and green communities, and also supporting the Green Deal strategy. So I said that I'm going to explain you the difference between research and innovation actions, and coordination and support actions. I will tell first about the coordination and support actions. These are the easiest way of organizing the project. These are the huge consortia of institutions that are dealing on white papers, green papers, and some documents and some preparation for a big research that is going to happen in a different domain. These projects are mainly oriented towards the supporting the decision makers in bringing some strategic documents and in creation of the sound basis for their work. But in a pillar 2, we are going to deal mostly with the research and innovation actions, which are the collaborative projects aiming to create new knowledge and or to explore the feasibility of some technology, product, process, service, or solution. So the ending product of these projects is a new knowledge. Compared to the innovative actions, we don't have them now at the moment, so many. but there are a certain number of the innovative actions in the program. These are the collaborative projects that needs to bring the results of the project close to the market with the goal of commercialization. Therefore, you can see that the technology readiness level in RIA is lower than in innovation actions. This is completely normal because with innovation actions, we want to be closer to the market. And this is the priority in these actions. Then the funding rate for the research and innovation action is a 100%, so there is no co-funding. While in innovation actions, we have that for profit-making legal entities, the funding rate is 70%. But for non-profit is still the funding rate of 100%. The duration of the actions is the same, between 3 and 4 years, with a similar budget between 4 and 15 million euros. This budget can be increased depending on the call topic, or also can be limited to 2 million if it's a case of, for example, CSA action. And the minimum consortium is, as I mentioned, 3 institutions from 3 member states or associated countries, where 1 must be from the member states. So to have a picture, especially for those dealing with agriculture, after the call deadline, when you submit the project proposal, you must wait 8 months in order to get the money, if granted. So in the first 5 months after the submission of the proposal is the period for the proposal's evaluation. And in that proposal evaluations, the evaluators are evaluating your proposals and making the final list for the funding of the proposals. Then 3 months after that, it's a period to prepare the grant agreement. It's a document, it's a contract between the European Commission and the institution that is coordinating the project. And then grant signature is usually happen 8 months after the submission. And then in the next 45 days, you can expect the transfer of the pre-financing, which depends on the type of action, but usually it's 60% of the amount, or in a lump sum, it's a different, because lump sum now functions in a different way. So very important is when you go to the funding and tenders portal is how to decode the call topic, what to read and how to understand the call topic. This is example that I have used in my last mission in Africa. Just it's something that is unique. In this case, it's a EU-African Union. This is from African Initiative. So this is the title of the topics. The topic is the lowest level. So it means this is the concrete what you need to do. I mean, this is the title, like your PhD thesis. This is the title of your PhD thesis. This is the topic ID. This is the code that is going to be used to identify the whole group of the projects that are going to be applied under this call topic. On this first part in the general information, you have also the link to the call, so you can read more details about the call. You can find out a budget available for all elements in this call. And then you have the type of the action. As you can see, this specific call topic here is a research and innovation action, which is a single stage. This means it is going to be submitted as a full proposal. There will be an evaluation of the full proposal, not concept note and then full proposal, but the full proposal. Then the opening date and also the deadline for submission. So this is about the general information, and also very important to see here, this call is forthcoming. So it means it is going to be published on 17th of October in 2023. But you can read already now what is going to be funded. Again, next item on this call topic is the topic description. This is crucial part. You need to study this every single word. So here we have expected outcome. It means the Commission says, I'm expecting you to achieve this. So the expected outcomes are bulleted here. And it's even said that project results are expected to contribute to all of the following expected outcomes. Sometimes it is going to be written number of them, 1 or 2 or half of them or whatever it is, but here explicitly is required to have them all. So it means you really have to have these expected impacts in your project proposal written and explained. Scope is the next one, so it gives you the picture about the volume of the topic that you need to address. And also there are some particular details that you need to achieve with your project proposal. Also, we have here explanation for the cross-cutting issues. For example, this topic should involve effective contribution of the societal and the humanity disciplines, and also gives us the information about the required technology readiness level. The next part is the destination, description of the destination. So here you have all the details about the destination, which is a higher level topic itself. So also you pay attention to the expected impact of the destination, because these are the higher goals that you have to meet with your proposal. Then we have the section of the topic conditions and documents. These are the place where you can check your admissibility and eligibility. So Annex B that you can download here will give you the information, is the USA eligible to participate or not? So these are the general documents and general conditions. And then you have also specific conditions, which you can find also in the destination, in the description of the topic. And also you have here some documents that I would like to draw to your attention. And this is, for example, the standard application form and the standard evaluation form. It's very useful to read these documents in advance in order to conceptualize your project proposal. Also to mention, these are PDFs. These PDFs, standard application form and the standard evaluation form, are not the ones that are supposed to be used when applying the proposal. These are just informative documents, so just for your information. There are also additional political and strategical documents that you can find, and also one very important part of this whole topic is the partner search announcement. This is the place where you can find your potential partner. So for this call, already 35 institutions, this is a couple of weeks ago screenshot. So the 35 partners are searching for the collaboration. So you can see them when you click on view edit. You can see which are these institutions, and you can filter them. You can select one of institution with which you would like to collaborate, and even more important, you can make the contact with this organization. When you click the contact, you will get one simple inside email form that you need to fill in order to send this email to that person. But pay attention, you are addressing the legal entity appointed representative, which usually in the case of universities in Europe is a vice rector or general or secretary general, or some of the person that is authorized to sign the contract on behalf of institution. So you have to be aware of the communication level with such kind of the persons. And the next one is also very crucial one. If you look at the first start submission the picture, it's the when the call is forthcoming. So you don't have these buttons on the bottom. So the next picture below is start submission is when the call is open. So this is very important that you select. So you must click on this radio button here to select to enable submission. You will not be able to submit the proposal if you don't select this. Then when you click the start submission, the system is going to transfer you to another system in the European Commission, which is dealing with the submission of the proposals. However, you always, from this point on, you always have this online manual and IT manual on assistance to how to deal with the system. So below this, when you scroll down, because this is very long page, you have topic related FAQ. First picture is when you don't have FAQs. For example, nobody asked anything rare about this topic. But for example, if you go for the Marie Sklodowska-Curie call page, you will find so many questions because this is the program that has so many questions already answered. So it's a very good source of information. If you have the question, so first check here if your question is answered here. If not, consult NCPs or try to find any other of this support here that is offered at the same page to help you answer your question. So the next one is, again, how to find the partners. Well, for institutions from USA, this should not be the problem because you are very popular partner for Europeans. So, but if you want to find the European partners, this is the very good solution. Go to the main menu of the funding and tenders portal, and then click on the partner search form. This is another way of finding the partners. You see previously that I explained you the partners that are interested for the particular call topic, but this is general when you are searching for the different institutions. You can select different filters to narrow the search, or also you can put the keyword and then click the search. You will get a list of these institutions. For example, when I selected Horizon Europe, I selected United States, I got that 49 institutions have been registered in the system and posted their profiles. So I'm inviting you to post your profile, research institution profile, to post on this funding and tenders portal in order to be visible to the participant. And you can see that these regions of University of California were very successful in the framework programs, 85 projects. So I believe that there is more than 49 institutions in USA that can be very recognized here. Very brief about the European missions and partnerships. These are some other opportunities. There is a bilateral cooperation between European Union and US, which means mission innovation is a specific supporting program for the clean, affordable energy, attractive and solutions for all. Then you have this All Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance, and you have Global Alliance on Chronic Diseases. So this means that these are the bilateral cooperating programs, and they can be partially funded through Horizon Europe. For example, there is a call for this Global Alliance on Chronic Diseases to support this alliance from the Horizon Europe. So in this case, then you can apply for the proposal. However, the EU missions are a novelty in the Horizon Europe program. They are a new way to have the concrete solutions for the greatest challenges. You will see when I go through them what it means. So it means that these results must be achieved in the year 2030 with the funding that is dedicated to EU missions. The EU missions are supporting the general and most important Commission priorities, which is European Green Deal, Europe Fit for the Digital Age, Beating Cancer, and New European Bauhaus. So it means the aim of the European missions is to transform Europe into greener, healthier, more inclusive, resilient society. So these are the 5 missions. The first mission is related to the health cluster, and it's conquering cancer, Mission Possible, with a target to beat and to save 3 million lives and to enable to people that are fighting with the cancer to live longer and better, and also to their families, not only to them, and to ensure equitable access for these patients to all institutions in Europe. The next one is related to the climate resilient to Europe, to prepare Europe to deal with the climate disruptions, which can be human caused or which can be nature caused. Then the next one is restore our oceans and waters to prevent pollution of the waters. Doesn't matter is it salty water or fresh waters, but stop degrading these ecosystems and habitats. Then by 2030, the next mission is to have 100 European cities that are promoting and showcasing systematic transformation towards climate neutrality. These cities are already selected. You can find on the websites of the European Commission more information about this, very interesting. So this means that these cities should prepare to be climate neutral cities. So the level of pollution will be minimized towards zero. Caring soil is caring for life, is something that is also reflected in the cluster 6, to have at least 75% of all soils in the European Union healthy for food, people, nature, and climate. So this is the mission that needs to ensure this. Less demanding than the missions are the European partnerships, but still these are the new generation of the partnerships. Partnerships are known also in the Horizon 2020, but now they are even more strengthened, and they are divided into 3 groups: partnerships that are co-programmed based on a memorandum of understanding between the institutions, then co-funded based on the joint program between the states of the European Union, and also institutionalized based on the Article 185 of these documents and the EIT legal act for this 2021-27. There are 49 candidates for the European partnerships. Actually, they are approved already. So in the cluster one that is most interesting for you, we have these initiatives, institutionalized partnerships according to the Article 185 are innovative health initiatives. It's a former innovative medical initiative. Then we have global health partnership. Then there are co-funded partnerships, transformation of health system, chemical risk assessment, European Research Area for Health, rare diseases, rare diseases, One Health, antimicrobial resistance, personalized medicine, and also this is pandemic preparedness. They're also here in the partnerships. You can see also for other clusters who is interested in the different clusters that the most important issue. If you want to participate in these partnerships, you have to really check the eligibility for participation. So I hope that I was very brief, very informative, and very clear about what is a Pillar 2, what are the clusters, which are the project types, how to read the project, the call topic page, how to find the partners, and very, very, very briefly about the missions and partnerships. With this, I would like to thank you, and I hope that I was not too long. I'm open for your questions, and also please, if you have also post-event questions, send it to Jackson and Derya, and they are going to forward it to me, and we will try to find the best answers to you. So with this, I would like, first of all, thank you for your patience to listen to me, and once again, apologize if my English was not as expected at some extra high level, but let's try to explain it with the question and answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dalibor. I think that was loud and clear. What I'd like to do is encourage the audience, if there are any questions that you're left with, to please share them in the Q&A box, as some of you have been doing. And as I do that, I would like to take a look at some of the questions submitted during registration, and also quickly go over some of the questions that I already have given written answers for, just to allow Dalibor and Derya to supplement, correct, elaborate if they wish on any of those points. So let me take a quick moment to do that. One question submitted during registration was, can US researchers only apply, or can non-US researchers based in the United States in a US research or academic institution apply to? And if my reading of this is correct, I just want to underscore a comment Dalibor had made briefly earlier, and that is that this is a collaborative program, Pillar 2. It's a question of institutions and not individuals. So if the askers, if the aim of the asker's question was about one's nationality, that should not matter. It's the country that the institution is based in. Although I will ask Dalibor, Derya if they have anything they'd like to add to that to fill out my answer. But that would be the quick general response to that.
Yes, thank you for the question. Yes, the Pillar 2 projects are not depending on the nationality. So it means that even in other clusters, you can participate as a USA, but you have to check eligibility. And as Derya said in the introduction, if your participation is really necessary and clearly justified, then your participation will be funded with exceptional funding. But these are the preconditions that you need to check, and also to see within the work program or call topic page under the topic description part.
Thank you, Dalibor. Let me, there was another question submitted during registration that I think has also been put in the Q&A box, so we'll go right to that one. Can EU staff on sabbatical participate in projects, or those who are linked to an EU body but on sabbatical at a US research or academic institution apply to be part of the consortium? So I think this, Dalibor, this may be similar to the earlier question, but there's no mobility aspect to Pillar 2 if you'd like to speak to that.
No. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question also. Yeah, this is not important because the projects in a Pillar 2 are again institutional, and the research teams are doing the projects. So it means that there is not going to be mobility in a sense of the Pillar 1, so that you go for 3 months or 6 months or 1 year, 2 years for mobility. These are short-term mobilities that you go for maybe to do some research task, very brief research task, maybe desk research or something like that, but not longer than that. And also meetings and different consortia meetings to manage the project, but not really in a Pillar 2 projects. You should be focused on your research work, not on mobility.
Yes, and may I also add something, Jackson? It's really important that, especially because I mentioned Pillar 1, so these researchers who are also attending today, I think they wonder how they can apply, but I also mentioned Pillar 1. In our website, there are so many informative webinars on MSCA and ERC, because it is a very detailed and long topic to explain today. But if you would like to go our website or YouTube channel so that you can get really specific answers to your questions, how long do you need to be, for example, in Europe or in other countries to apply for specific these individual grants. So it's very important, because otherwise you cannot apply. You are just going to be rejected. Yes.
Thank you, Derya. One of the questions asked in the Q&A box and that I provided a written answer for is about if there is a national funding scheme for U.S. researchers to participate in Horizon Europe projects. Many other countries have their own national funding scheme to supplement, such as Canada. They have something called NFRF. In the case of the U.S., there is not exactly national funding. There is U.S. eligibility for the Cluster 1 health calls, as both Derya and Dalibor mentioned. And you can also search specifically for the United States to be listed or international cooperation to be encouraged. But as they both exhorted to the audience also, if you believe U.S. participation is necessary or essential for a call, you can make that case. For Pillar 1, that was speaking about Cluster 1, of course, that's in Pillar 2. But in the bottom up individual researcher mobility Pillar 1, NSF funding does exist for existing individual NSF grantees. You can go on the National Science Foundation website for information on that. If you go into your favorite search engine and type in NSF grantees ERC grants, it's something called implementing arrangements. And these are negotiated bilaterally between the European Commission and certain researcher funding bodies within each country. So that's what exists in the case of the US. One thing that was mentioned briefly that I also think is in one of my written answers and worth looking into is for US researchers who will bring outside funding, not from the European Commission. One modality of Horizon Europe is associated partner status, and this basically lowers the barrier for what the contractual commitment is to the consortium. I will provide specific wording here. I have it written down. U.S. participants not receiving European Commission funds are no longer required to sign a grant agreement with the European Commission, which makes their participation smoother. And this is something that was commonly requested during the previous program called Horizon 2020, which ended at the end of 2020. But right now, we've been talking this whole time about Horizon Europe. That started 2021. So we're approaching the middle of this program. So I would say you could definitely look into associated partner status, but any information you find searching on the European Commission website or third-party websites would only be from the last 2.5 years. So I don't know if if Derya or Dalibor would like to look at some of the written answers provided in the Q&A box, and we'll also wait a few minutes for some additional questions to come in. And yes, for those asking for links to some recent webinars, I will put some in the chat right now, and you'll also see them on our YouTube channel. So if you're watching the recording of this, and you can just go to our video library and see that. Derya, please. And
I would also like to add that there is some info sessions days organized by the European Commission, and they're very useful to be updated about the recent change, calls and everything about the general, rules. For example, I also shared in the chat box I think in September, there is another info day for just cluster, for example, 6. The other clusters, the European Commission is organizing also these info, meetings or days. So if you can reach out in our LinkedIn webpage, in social media, we all the time update you about these days. So if you can follow us, our website as well, you can be really updated about these, deadlines and info days, which is mostly informed by the European Commission. So you will be updated regularly if you follow these, not only us, but also the European Commission's websites. Yeah.
So I'm taking a moment to find links to those playlists that we have on YouTube, and then also just a link to the EURAXESS North America post for our most recent webinar held earlier this month on the Marie Skłodowska Actions postdoctoral fellowships, again, for individual researchers. I don't know if Dalibor has anything that you'd like to add to that, but in the meantime, I'm just trying to give a few extra minutes to the audience to come up with some new questions here.
No, nothing special to add, just to support this, what Derya said. European Commission is always, when opening calls in advance, they are providing these seminars, webinars, whatever you call them. So REA is organizing these events, and they're very good. If you can follow them, if you can register and participate to these events, they are free of charge normally. And they're providing exactly, for example, I was just telling which kind of calls are going to be published in 2024. But when they are elaborating the work program, they're even talking in more details about each call. So each call they are analyzing from each perspective and saying, this is what we expect as a European Commission. So the policy officers are the participants in the webinars, and they are giving the full information. So that's why it is important to participate such kind of events. The another group of events is brokerage events that are usually organized also by the national contact points or the networks of the institutions, where they are gathering to exchange the ideas about the projects. So pay attention that your idea could be just a small part of a bigger project. So you need to candidate your idea, to find your partners, to make the complete picture. It's like a puzzle. Maybe your project idea is just one puzzle in the whole picture, in the whole frame that is going to be applied under this call topic. So this is just for your consideration. This is the way how to find the best partners, by following the presentations of the officials from the European Commission, and also by participating in these brokerage events and exchange the ideas with the others.
I'll elaborate briefly on what both of you said and give a link. In an earlier Q&A answer, I gave a link to one of the brokerage events, or what I call the matchmaking events. I'm going to give another one to a health brokerage event that was held earlier this month. The info days are generally held during business hours, Central European time, which can be a bit inconvenient if you're based in North America or in the Americas, with the 6 to 9 hour time zone difference for me here in the US, the major time zones. But that said, the info days are recorded, and usually within a few days, those videos are uploaded. So you can make a profile on the European Commission website, register for all of the events you're interested in, and then it'll be in your history. So you can simply go back a few days later and check out the recording. And then there are different organizations that are that administer the different matchmaking or brokerage events. And for example, I was in touch with one recently, and on behalf of some US principal investigators. And I said, how can they get involved if they can't join live? And they were encouraged to either record their pitches to be played during the live pitch session, or to share their PowerPoints so that those could be uploaded to the document repository. So whether you can or cannot join live during these things that generally take place during the European morning, you can definitely record videos and be involved in the sort of forum type communication platform. The website that most of these matchmaking sessions use is called b2match.io, and it's a really interactive, good tool. So I'm going to share, just as I finish my answer here, a link to that. You can go in and see past ones. And this will be for the health cluster, which will be perhaps of more interest to US-based participants, given the eligibility for funding.
I would like to underline another source that is very important, and that's EURAXESS North America. I mean, Jackson and Derya, they are collecting this information for you. So subscribe if you didn't subscribe to their newsletter and to the flash notes, because this is the source of information that is directly coming from the European Commission. So these two persons here that we have, they're really supplied with the first-hand information, which is the really accurate information. Don't look at some other suspicious web pages and some providers like agencies and such things, but just go to the EURAXESS North America and be informed about these events that are organized in Europe.
Thank you, Dalibor.
Thank you very much. I think what we can do then, if no other questions come in, I would like to encourage you, as it's been said, to keep an eye on events both at the EURAXESS North America website, but then also the European Commission's Directorate General for Research and Innovation, or DGRTD. That's where you can find information on these info days, just as we do. We will continue to post them. I will say one more time, you'll get an automated email from us tomorrow. We hope to see you again soon. I'd like to invite Derya and Dalibor to give any closing remarks, but it's been a pleasure to answer some questions today.
I just want to say thank you for all joining us today, because it was a bit long info session. I hope you all enjoyed, and in the future you are going to use this information in your applications, or your organization's applications, of course, not your individual applications, right, Dalibor? Okay.
Exactly. I would also like to thank to everyone on my behalf, to participants for listening to me, because I was really fast talking. And also I would like to thanks again to Derya and to Jackson for inviting me to do this. Really honor for me to first time present a Pillar 2. Now there is going to be more presentations on this topic, and you will be able to listen individually about the clusters and everything. So EURAXESS is there at your side to help you. Don't hesitate to use the services of EURAXESS North America, and to even to search the partners if it's case that you need partners from Europe. So once again, thanks a lot to everyone, and warmest regards from Bosnia and Herzegovina, from Banja Luka.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.